Hey everyone, it's Amanda Stanley from Lion's Tooth Wellness with our last Your Best Self series. This is the extra week 5 because I couldn't help myself. So thanks again for joining me. It's been a lot of fun chiming in with you guys for the last 5 weeks, or 4 weeks rather. So as sort of like a recap of what we've been focusing on, they're just really simple founding blocks of health and self-care. And when we're focusing on water, when we're focusing on healthy digestion, when we're focusing on moving our bodies daily, we're focusing on getting really good restful sleep. These are all things that we need to have happening, right? And digestion goes hand in hand with eating whole food. So I kind of combine those two, eating right for yourself. So when we're focusing on those really simple basic needs, everything is going to flow so much better overall for any health imbalance you are dealing with, you might be struggling with. If you're focusing on the really simple basic needs that you definitely have to bring awareness to, bring consciousness to, and make a little bit of time for, when you do those things, everything else in your life will thrive. I just was working on a recent blog post for my What's Up monthly blog series, and it was around adrenal stress and fatigue, and I'll be posting it soon. But it was about the fact that even when we travel on an airplane, so if you've been traveling via an airline before, and they go through the safety sort of spiel and tell you that, you know, if in the moment of an emergency and the oxygen masks will fall from, you know, underneath the overhead, that you grab yours and you put yours on first, and then you go ahead and you assist others if they need it. That comes right into living our everyday lives. We have to help ourselves first. We have to take care of ourselves first. If we don't, everyone else in our lives will suffer. And this is something that a lot of people have a hard time hearing and maybe even wanting to relate to because they're busy parents, because they're, love their job and maybe they're workaholics, that they're just always looking outside themselves of, no, that's more important. Like, my kids are more important. My job is more important. Everything else is more important than me. But unfortunately, all those other things will suffer when you, the person who's taking care of everything else, isn't getting what they need. So when we do take the time to prioritize these really simple, basic needs, but founding blocks of health, when we're making time for it, everything else will thrive. Think about it as like a day that you're hungry, you didn't eat enough, you're tired, you're stressed, you're just kind of agitated, you were stuck in traffic all day, maybe getting home from work. You're not in a great place to be excited to, listen to your husband or wife or partner. Maybe they had a bad day and they kind of want to unload on you and kind of get some stuff out. You're not going to be in a great place to even want to hear that because you're dealing with your own stuff. Maybe the kids are really extra active and they're running around and being needy, and you're just like at your wit's end because your needs haven't been met for the day. We often take out emotions and maybe words that we wished we hadn't said, or just behaviors that aren't really the best, that happen when we are not getting what we need, because that's where it starts. We need to nourish ourselves. We need to give ourselves what we need to exist, to thrive, to move through life with ease and grace as best we can. And then when we get that, even if it's little baby steps of getting that self-care in, when we get that, we're so much clearer. We are so much more energized and revitalized. We're so much more grounded in our lives and in all of the roles that we play. And also, in the way that we have the ability to then share it with others and then take care of others. So when we skip that really vital, important piece of grabbing our oxygen mask and putting it on before everyone else, we're really doing ourselves a huge disservice, but also every other aspect in your life. So when you're doing these self-care practices, even just the simple things that we've talked about over the course of this 5 weeks, I promise you that you'll be a better friend, you'll be a better partner, a better coworker, a better parent, a better everything. Everything will be so much more easily attained, and everything will just flow with more, again, grace and ease and peace. And who doesn't want that, right? And happiness, right? a lot more happiness too. So these, 4 weeks may seem kind of simple and bear down for a lot of you, but that's where you have to begin. We can talk about a gazillion different herbs. We can talk about acupuncture and chiropractic and certain, heavier hitting herbs or even pharmaceuticals that will definitely chime in and help certain imbalances and, physical and mental diseases that we're dealing with. But if we're not doing the founding blocks of health, those are not going to help us very much. All those other things, all those other options and sort of adjuncts to self-care will certainly act as maybe a band-aid and a quick fix that will certainly serve you for the symptomatic issues that you might be experiencing, for pain and for just chronic discomfort, but they will not last you very long because other things will start to be boiling under the surface and then arise and then maybe another different kind of imbalance or discomfort. So you really need to go deep, start basic, and start fresh. Start at the bare bones of what health means, what a healthy life means. And that's about looking at the whole picture of our lifestyles, of our day-to-day sort of routines, things like that. So I kind of wanted to leave you with that before I talk about the last bit, the last piece that I definitely connect into the foundations for self-care and for general health. And that is the importance of stress support. And this isn't specific stress, I should say stress support, but it's also like, it's the importance of breath, really. I kind of tie them hand in hand because they very closely relate, but it's really the importance of intentional breath that supports our mental emotional stress response, and ways to kind of just dissolve and sort of regroup from stressful lives. And not all stress is bad, but when we are just kind of running around with our heads cut off, kind of stress all the time, and when there's a lot of anxiety and worry and stressors up here, that can really wreak havoc on your mental body, but then it manifests out into your physical body as well. And the single most important thing we can offer supporting stress, supporting anxiety, is breath. It's free, it's accessible to us at any time, at any moment, and for any length of time. And obviously, we don't have to think about doing it. We're doing it no matter what. But what I like to kind of tune into is, what is the quality of the breath we are offering ourselves on a regular basis? I find that when I get really stressed and kind of scattered and I'm running around, I breathe really shallowly. I'm not taking full inhales and exhales. And even if I'm like extra stressed, I'm having a really hard day, I'm holding my breath. I'm not breathing at all. Certainly I'll then begin to breathe, but I'm a lot of times I'm like this, and I'm holding my breath and doing whatever I'm trying to get done. That's not good. And I feel like that's not an uncommon thing to happen for a lot of people. Our breath is not full, intentional, and it's not feeding our bodies and minds the way that it could. So one of the most simple practices I like to offer people with any sort of stressor, experience, trauma, whatever it might be, is to stop what you're doing. It's kind of like stop, move, and breathe is what I call it. So especially if you're at the workplace, you're having a moment, stop what you're doing, put everything down, go to the restroom. Hopefully you have individual stalls, or maybe at least just one private stall. Lock it, stand there, close your eyes for a moment. Don't worry, you're safe, you're enclosed in your cubby, whatever. And just take a nice long inhale and a long, deep exhalation. And the exhalation is even more important to really let out completely, because that's what helps to ground. The exhales are the most grounding to the mind and emotions. And do that again with your, relax your shoulders down, close your eyes, turn inward, and just breathe. But with intention, with purpose, really filling up your entire torso with all those spaces that are available for us to use to create healthy breathing. And at least do that for 5 to 10 breaths. And no one's going to worry about where you are. It's like just bathroom break. Oh, she went to go pee. She'll be back in a couple of minutes. Like, this doesn't take much time. I promise you that it makes a world of difference when you do this. And let's say you can't leave the situation. Let's say you're in your car, or let's say you're at the grocery store in line, trying to pay, and that can be stressful enough, especially if like you go to Market Basket and you're just wall to wall with people. That always drives me nuts. Just breathe. Just breathe with intention. Bring yourself to that awareness. Like, I can be breathing a little bit more deeply and a little bit more fully with my inhales and exhales, and just zone out for a moment. Just turn into yourself and just focus on breathing. I've had clients who, you know, I've talked to about doing this for stress support, and they kind of laugh at me. And then the following week, they'll call me up and say, oh my God, like that helped me so much. Breathing helped me so much. It changed the situation I was in. It helped me just move more fluidly through the day. It was awesome. So I offer you the same. Breathe. Breathe with intention. It's free, it doesn't take much time, and it's so effective. It literally tells your mind and body to just chill out. Everything's good. Everything's running smoothly. She's breathing well for us. Awesome. Okay, good. All is well. It's the one gift you can give to yourself over and over and over again throughout your day that will really help to shift everything. It truly, truly will. One of my favorite things to kind of combine with that on the herbal side of things is aromatherapy. I love essential oils. I love to use them in sprays. I'm not a huge internal use or like straight on the skin. I always like to blend it with what I call a carrier. So whether that carrier is like a massage oil or an unscented lotion or simply water or even witch hazel in a spray bottle. I love to use that because, first of all, it's a really sort of it can be hidden well. People usually just think if you pull out a little spray bottle and you mist yourself, that it's a perfume of some sort, right? So they're not gonna like question why you're doing it. But what's very cool is that aromatherapy kind of connects our mind, our emotions, and our physical response really sneakily, if you will, because the power of scent is enormous. So you can tune in to really some of the similar herbs, essential oils rather, that we talked about for sleep support. So the citrus. Lavender is another one that I really enjoy. I know not everyone loves that one. And maybe some of the grounding ones like the marjoram and the bergamot and the cypress and the spruce, the more earthy, woodsy sorts of smells. And I encourage you to, you know, go to, your natural food store or check out some of those links that I gave you. I'll post them again around good essential oil companies, using them with care, of course, and following the dilution rates of whatnot. But choose the ones that kind of, you know, speak to you and, you know, tune into scent. Scent's so magical, so potent. That so many scents, you know, I can smell lavender and be like, ooh, like it makes me breathe more, right? Because you're smelling it. So that alone is activating the breath by inhaling an essential oil and just letting it soak in. But what's so amazing is that essential oils reach you on so many different levels. It has the mental emotional response, then the physical response, right, of relaxing because you're breathing better. Excellent. But it also, every single essential oil that I'm familiar with is antimicrobial in some way, shape, or form. So when we're inhaling them, even just through scent, those tiny little molecules are getting up into our mucous membranes, especially in our sinus cavities up here, right, where it's a lot more like there might be some mucus. There's mucus, it's mucous membranes, but might be some congestion, things going on that they will settle in up there because they are fat soluble, so they like to latch on to tissues. And that's where they'll stay. And so as you continue to breathe throughout the day, and maybe a virus, a microbe, something nasty gets inhaled and makes it past your nose hairs, those are trying to collect things and keep things out of your nose. But it goes up there and boom, the lavender essential oil molecules start working their magic and kill those things off. So it's a preventative measure for colds and flus as well. So it's kind of like a triple whammy here that you can use this nice little mist for yourself to just calm yourself. It smells nice and you're breathing more, and it helps to just shift the energy in wherever you are. So male, female, doesn't matter. Like I offer these to my clients all the time, and the most important factor is that you yourself enjoy the scent. So I'll provide you a couple links for developing your own little aromatic spritzer is what I call them, for again that stress support and the encouragement of conscious breathing. And you can get small spray bottles at like the dollar store or Target or whatnot that will fit right into your pocketbook or your bag, and you pull it out whenever you need it. And it's just such a wonderful tool to have. It really, really is. It's super potent. The other thing I would like to say about stress support and the same realm of breath is the practice of meditation. And I know meditation is it's one of those things, it's like kind of this like woo-woo hippie thing, although it's very mainstream now. People still have kind of preconceived notions about what it is, what it looks like. there's lots of different ways to, and meditate's a really broad term, of course. Some people, like the yoga, being a yogi and all, like when we talk about meditation in our teacher training that I'm going through one right now, it's actually concentration. Concentration is, it's called dharana for the Sanskrit word, and it's really about trying to tame the mind, right? Meditation is when, according to yoga, which is where it stems from, so I guess that's the end all be all, is when you can just boom, silence in the brain. I'm just there. I'm there, I can be silent with myself, nothing's going on, the senses are cut off, peace. So I am not at that point, and I don't think most of the people who even practice meditation are at that point. It takes many, many, many years to be able to get into that place to just turn off. And wouldn't it be nice if we all just had a little switch we could flick off on our temple, like, boop, I'm done for the day, no more thinking. But so this dharana, or this concentration, is really what we see around us when people talk about meditation. So one of my favorite ways to practice this concentration variety of meditation, I'll just keep calling it meditation because that's the term we're most familiar with, are ones that are guided, especially for newbies. And really what the beginning sort of points of meditation are is just focusing in on your breath. Just those acts that I just asked you to do: go to the bathroom, stand there, close your eyes, breathe. You're in the grocery store shopping line, you're breathing. Like, that alone can be meditation because you're drawing your awareness back to yourself, back to your breath, and you're concentrating on it. You're just breathing. You're there, you're in the present moment, you're tuning into yourself, you're supporting yourself with your breath. That alone is an enormous, powerful practice of meditation, of concentration. So that alone is huge. But I also would like to offer you, especially if you're new to meditation, or maybe you just enjoy it and are looking for new ways to do it, I'm a total Deepak Chopra nerd. I love him because he's such an interesting split between the ego and the sort of spiritual spirit, because he, you see him on Facebook or wherever you might see him, and he's got his Armani glasses on, and he's posing different spots around the world and other countries, and you're like, man, like, he's a little full of himself. That's how I feel anyways when I see him. I think he's hysterical. But then, I had the pleasure of hearing him speak at a music hall in Portsmouth on one few years back, and then I also do some of his meditations, and when you hear the messages and the knowledge he offers you and just the sound of his voice, he's incredible. He is tuned in. He has the ability to really be both people in one body, which I think is important because we're living in this reality, right? We have to enjoy life and, however that looks for you. But then you also want to be able to tap into that sort of universalness of this life and interconnectedness that we all share, being part of this world and part of this universe. And he has the ability to flit back and forth between that spectrum. And I really appreciate him for that. And so Deepak, the last few years has, actually maybe even longer, it's been the last few years that I've been practicing this meditation, but he has teamed up with Oprah, which I know is a side note, whether you are pro-Oprah or anti-Oprah. I know she kind of can go either way for people, but she's just a very small part of this piece, but I like to bring that up for folks. They joined forces to offer a 21-day meditation challenge, and it's free. And all you have to do is sign up with your email, and every day for 21 days, you get a new email, and you click on the link and it brings you to a guided meditation. Oprah does a quick 1-minute intro. These meditations are themed. So there's, I believe this one is you are what you believe or something like that. But it's all about just cleaning house, uplifting the spirit, and just walking a path of peace and trust and love. And they kind of, they just give you a little bit to work with. They kind of give you ideas and thoughts to kind of wrap your brain around. So Oprah's the first minute, then Deepak will talk a little while, and then he'll offer you a mantra or an affirmation. And of course, there's lovely music playing on in the background, which is always nice. And they'll offer you a mantra, which is something that is usually a word or a sound that you hold in your mind, so that when you get to the point of the meditation where he'll ask you to close your eyes and just breathe, that you hold, sometimes it's Om, sometimes it's Ram, sometimes it's 3 different Sanskrit words or whatnot. And they have a meaning, and he'll let you know what those are, and you just hold them so that when you're breathing, when you're tuning into yourself and just trying to sit comfortably and relax, and your mind will wander because that's what it does, you'll bring it back to that mantra, like, oh no, I'm supposed to be focusing on this sound, and you just say it to yourself in your mind, and then it'll float away again, and then you'll draw it back, and it helps you to kind of stay on course of that, again, turning inward, conscious breath, and just trying to quiet the monkey brain, right, that we all combat. This is such an important practice, and what's so cool about the Deepak meditations is that they're only 15, maybe 20 minutes long, and so everyone, I know that all of you listening can carve out 20 minutes a day for yourself. If you do nothing else, I think this is one of the most important practices that you can offer yourself. I really, really do, because I believe strongly that everything begins in here, whether you're conscious of it or not. When we can find peace and health and just ease in our brains, our minds, everything else will follow suit, physically and then out into the world around us. So that is my other piece of offering this sort of breath work and stress support to you as that important founding block for self-care daily practices, right? So all 5 weeks, these are things that I want you to really hone in on and really offer yourself to practice each and every day, even if you just pick one at a time to focus on, and then get into that routine of feeling, oh, I can totally drink my, half my body weight in ounces every day. That's like easy peasy for me now. Moving on. Okay, can I move my body for 20 minutes a day? Maybe that's the next step, to get a gym membership or find a friend and walk around the neighborhood, whatever it might be. Baby steps, but these are your foundation. These things are the building blocks of your health. So I promise you, if you skip them, you're just not going to get as far. I know from experience, you really have to tune into these, and they're not always easy, but it's something you can always come back to. So if these 5 weeks are kind of new things for you, or maybe just refreshers that you're not great at, but you're trying to be better at, awesome. Like, this is the first step of just wanting to learn more, wanting to be an active participant in your health. So don't be hard on yourself, and know that, let's say you do a week and it's awesome and you're able to do all these things and you feel so good, and the next week is really stressful and you kind of skip one, and then you skipped all the other ones, and then you've fallen completely off the self-care wagon, and then you're feeling really bad about it. Guess what? You can hop back on the wagon anytime you want. And please do. And leave that whip of self-deprecation and guilt aside. It's not going to help you. Know that each and every moment, not even just each and every day, each and every moment is a new opportunity to start again, to take better care of yourself. And I promise that if you follow these 5 weeks, these simple things you can offer yourself, your overall health, wellness, and happiness will improve significantly. So I will leave you with that. Thank you so much for tuning in with me for these 5 weeks. It's been a real pleasure coming into your email boxes with these videos. It's brings me such joy to be able to share this really simple but profound information with you that I found has served my life so well. I hope you find it just as helpful, and I always encourage you all to continue with the questions. Like I said, I have a monthly blog post. People email their questions, and I try to answer as many as I can and post them monthly. So I'm always open for extra questions or situations that you might want insight on. I also have lots of different ways to work with you in other realms. Email me, check out my site. Always ask me questions. I'm on tons of social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Find me, follow me. If you do want to still enter into winning some of those herbal goodies, please feel free to post. As long as you use the hashtag Lion's Tooth Wellness and your Best Self series, I will find your post one way or another, and I will enter you. The sort of raffle entries will be open until next Tuesday, and that I will be emailing. After that, I will be emailing the winners for those. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been such a pleasure, and keep your questions and curiosities coming. I love connecting to all of you in all those different ways. So have a wonderful rest of your week, and I hope I can connect to you in another way at some point soon. All right, thanks again.